Alright, what's going on YouTube? Spaceman-EDC, back at it with another video here. Not really a review, I guess kind of a review. So it's going to be more of a review of the Work Sharp Sharpening system here. So this is what you see here. And then basically also kind of like a tutorial on how to use it and go about sharpening a knife. So first things first is, so this is Work Sharp Sharpening system here does come in 4 pieces really. So you got this piece right here, which is the claw that actually holds the knife. Then you have the base right here. You have the actual, I guess, tower, and then you have the little slidey sharpening system actually here. So basically all you're really going to do is you're just going to plug and play. You're going to plug the tower into the base. It just clips in, and then you're just going to essentially, this is magnetic fit into it. You can kind of see the magnets on the back side there, so you just slide that in place right there. And then this right here, this is also magnetic as well. It has like a little ball bearing on the end right there. As you can see, this just slides up and into this portion right here that you can kind of see, and it just locks in there with a magnet, so you can kind of maneuver it how you wish. So it comes already in the packaging with a 600 grit stone, a 320 grit stone, and then a ceramic stone right here. So 3 sides basically, and you just rotate and you hear a click to how to set it. I also went ahead and bought a little extra, this is a 3D printed, I guess, triangular piece that fits little extra strips of different grit, like pads or strips essentially. This is to give the blade itself a nice little shine. Basically you can get like a mirror finish with this, where each one of these, the color pads, there's a different type of grit. Like the yellow here is a 1200 grit, pink is a 8000 grit, and the light green is, I think it's like a 12,000 grit or something like that. But basically just to try to get a whoops a ding, try to get a nice like shine or mirror finish on the edge. But I recorded this video once before and the formatting did not work, so this knife is already relatively sharp, but I'm just going to go through the processes that I normally go through for sharpening a knife, and then how to actually do it with this sharpening system here. So the knife that we'll be sharpening today is, this is my modded Paramilitary 2 in M4 steel. You can obviously see it's Tonto. This has some modification work to it. I placed purple Flightanium scales on it with ice blue titanium screws. The blade has a rock hammer finish, sorry, and it is a blasted actual blade with that rock finish there. Overall, I really like the colors of it. Really kind of pops. It has a Flightanium, or just like a normal, I don't know if it's a Flightanium deep carry pocket clip, but it's a deep carry pocket clip in that same ice blue. So it's a very nice looking knife. So there you go, nice little look at that. So alright, so first thing is first, so you're going to open up the knife obviously, and this right here, pull that out right here, as you can see has, it's like a little claw. These open up right here, a little V, these open up, and you can tighten them down by this, but essentially you're going to place the knife in that V here, as you can see. And so since this is a tanto, it's a bit angled. It may be angled on it, but you just want to make sure you push the spine of the blade all the way into the back of the V here, and then you're going to tighten the actual claw itself by turning to the, well, in this case onto the left. If you have this flipped, it'll be the right, but this portion is to the left there. Perfect. So now that's pretty tight there. To actually maneuver this here, you're actually going to rotate it, but you can rotate it, or if you place the knife where it rotates and actually hits the bottom of the table, you could always just take it out like that, flip it, and bada bing, bada boom, there you go. And then in that case, since we flipped it, now we can go ahead and maneuver it back and forth like it should. So, since I already had done this knife before, I kind of know the angle that I had it at. So right now, I'm at a 27-degree angle because I kind of like my knives a bit slicier, as a lot with like my pocket knives, I don't do a lot of like hard use cutting, like chopping wood or anything like that, specifically not with a pocket knife. I don't really think you would do that with a pocket knife. So a lot of times, in my opinion, with pocket knives, it's more of you want a slicier type of edge and blade in general. So the more angled an actual edge is, so the higher up you go in here, it actually increases like the slicey, quote unquote, sliciness of it. So the first thing that I normally do is I like to, well, first I should say, to actually adjust the, there's little notches on the left hand side that indicate by 5, so there's 15 degrees all the way down here up to 30 degrees, and then there's notches in between, so you can go 26, 27, 28, or so on and so forth, kind of like the in-between indices. So right now I have it set to 27 degrees, and I always start with a this 600 grit stone that it comes with, just because I don't want to take off too much material, but I want to take off enough to start the actual edge itself on what I want. And then once I run it through a few times with the 600 grit, I move to the 320 grit. So I'm gonna give that a go here. You'll probably see it sped up, but I'll catch back up to you when I'm done with those two. Alrighty, now that we went ahead, we did that 600 grit on either side. I'm just gonna make sure I feel both edges on both sides. Just make sure I don't feel one kind of pushing over to the other side of the other one, basically, so I know that they're kind of almost even-esque. And a lot of people, what they like to do is put a Sharpie on the edge itself, just to make sure that they're getting the right sharpening angle. And the way you know that is if you put a Sharpie on the actual edge itself, you color it in, and then as you're doing it, it's basically going to take off that material and take off the Sharpie mark, just to make sure that you're on the correct sharpening angle. But after you do that, you kind of see and feel kind of what you kind of want out of the actual edge itself. That was only with the 600. I go to the 320 and I take off a little bit of material here. So since I went and I took off some material with the 320 grit, again, this blade is basically already sharpened, so I'm not really going to take off too much of the actual edge itself. But once you take off however much you wanted to take off, or however much you get it to where it's relatively sharp there on the actual edge itself, you're going to go ahead and start moving up the grit pattern. So you went from 320, now we're going to go back to the 600, and then move from the 600 to the ceramic. That is all that you get in the actual package itself for the Work Sharp Sharpening Kit. They do have it's like an upgrade kit for this system, where you can get replacement and or more grit stones specifically. However, that is a little more expensive. That's why I went with this here. I'll put this in the link in the description below. There we go, below. But it's essentially does kind of the same thing. It just quote unquote takes off like a very fine layer of metal, and basically just polishes it up essentially, and that's what the other grit stones would do, just not by taking off as much material. But so now that I went with the 320, you're going to see me, I'm going to go through the 600, the ceramic stone, and you'll kind of see what the edge happens to be afterwards, and then I'll move on to this guy here. All right, so now that we have kind of went through kind of what I felt was good for the 600 and the ceramic stone, we'll kind of take a look here, and I'm gonna kind of wipe off my edge here real quick, just give it a nice little, so we can kind of give it a look, see? So yeah, there you go. As you can see, it's pretty polished. Well, looks pretty sharp, and we'll give it a little test in a little bit, but you can kind of see it kind of has almost that mirror polish you kind of see over here. And that's just with the 3 stones that you get from the actual Work Sharp kit itself. Like I said, I'm gonna give it a little go with these here with this guy, see how polished I can actually get it. But essentially, if you wanted to go ahead and change this out here, pretty simple. All you gotta do is you find this little ring, this little, I guess it's like an O-ring kind of, you kind of just pull that off, you can kind of twist and pull, and it'll come off there, and you just slide this off. Perfect, there you go. And essentially, since it's not attached to anything anymore, you can just pull it apart like that. And this is basically, it's a 3D printed copy that's essentially like 1-to-1 with it, and this just slides on in there like so. Can use it like that, and then you just slide that back on, you line up everything, and it just slides on like that. Perfect. So there you go. And then you just replace that little stopper or O-ring and move it back into where you believe you would need it, which mine was a little bit further down there. Yeah, it seems about right. Perfect. And then that's how you kind of switch out the little stones, I guess we'll say. But yeah, so that is a little tutorial kind of overlook of the Work Sharp Sharpener sharpening system. I'll place a link to an Amazon link down below where you can grab it. It is about 50 bucks for this system here, which altogether it really isn't that bad for something that kind of, it almost really does the work for you, because if you have just like a normal sharpening stone and a strop, you have to angle it yourself. Sometimes you kind of mess up those angles, or you kind of get lazy with the angles. So I like this system overall in general. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, little tutorial kind of overview of the Work Sharp sharpening system, there is many more to come from. You can also take a look down in the description. I'll have a link to my actual website where you can view a review of this guy written out, as well as view a whole lot of other review posts, blog posts of different items that happens, like this knife is up there, flashlights, handguns, anything that has to do with EDC really. You can kind of go check that out, but don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, maybe that notification bell, maybe share this around with your friends, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Spaceman out.